Hey guys, welcome to the Soulcon weekly video teaching. My name is Ben Merritt. I'm a member of the Global Strike Force, and I've been a Soulcon member since January 31st, 2017. Today we're going to be delving into the death and resurrection of Lazarus and how it applies to our daily walk with Christ. So first things first, if you have your water or coffee, it's a little late in the day for coffee for me, but cheers. Good stuff. So we are going to, if you want to follow along here, we're going to be in John 11. I'll just read most of the chapter and then we can jump into it. So it says, "Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was the Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. So the sisters sent word to him," being Jesus, saying, "Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick." But when Jesus heard this, he said, "This sickness is not to end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of Man may be glorified by it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and are you going there again?" And Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, does he not stumble? Because he sees the light of the world? But in anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him." This he said, and after he said to them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go so that I may awaken him out of the sleep." The disciples said to him, "Lord, if he's fallen asleep, he will recover." Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought he was speaking of literal sleep. So Jesus said to them plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, so that you may believe, but let us go to him." So Jesus has confirmed right now that Lazarus is in fact dead. He's not asleep, he's not in a coma, he's not just sick, he is dead. So he waits a few days and he goes. So when he gets there, Martha and Mary are kind of upset because they know that he can heal the sick. They've seen this, but they may not fully believe that he can raise the dead. So Jesus has waited this long and let Lazarus die so that there is no question as to the power that's put on display here. So if he was sick, maybe he just got better. If he was in a coma, maybe he just woke up. But Lazarus is dead. And you can't fix dead, right? Men can't fix dead. Once you're dead, you're dead. So Jesus is putting his full power on display here, and I love it. He tells Martha, "Your brother will rise again." A few verses later, he says, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even if he dies." So, of course, this is a demonstration of his power, but it is a depiction for us of what our walk with Christ is. So we are not sick in sin. We are not asleep in sin. We are dead in sin, right? So in the same chapter, turning the page here, starting with verse 38. "So Jesus, again being deeply moved within, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and there was a stone lying against it. Jesus said, 'Remove the stone.' Martha, the sister of Lazarus, said to him, 'Lord, by this time there will be a stench, for he has been dead 4 days.' Jesus said, 'Did I not say to you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?' So they removed the stone. Jesus raised his eyes and said, 'Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you will always hear me, but because of the people standing around, I said it, so that they may believe that you sent me.' When he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, 'Lazarus, come out.' The man who had died came forth, bound hand and foot with wrappings, and his face was wrapped around with a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him so that he may go and walk." So, Jesus knows he's dead. He did this for a reason. Martha, what she has said is true, though. The Jews didn't at the time at least embalm. So he's been dead for 4 days. Dude's gonna smell. He's gonna have a stench about him. Decomposition is happening. He's going to smell like the grave, like rotting flesh. It's bad. It's bad news. That's why they sealed up the tomb, because he smelled bad. And, animals and stuff. So Lazarus comes forth, comes out of the grave because he's commanded to by Christ. He comes out, his hands and feet are bound in the grave clothes. His face is wrapped in the grave cloth. So he comes forth probably looking like a Halloween mummy, right? But he comes out and those wrappings stank. They smelled like 4-day-old dead guy. Because Lazarus was dead. We established that earlier in the chapter. He was dead. Up until the point that Christ said, "Lazarus, come out," he was dead. So they don't smell like a guy who's been in a coma. They don't smell like a guy who's been asleep. They smell like dead man. Nobody wants to smell that. So Jesus says, "Unbind him so he may go." So he tells Mary and Martha, go unwrap his hands and feet, unwrap his face so that he may go. So this is a depiction of what our life and walk with Christ is. When we are saved, we're not sick in sin. We're not asleep in sin. We're not in a hole in sin. We are dead in sin. Christ gives us life, breathes life into a corpse, and saves us. So, when that happens, oftentimes we are still bound in our grave clothes, because that's all we've known. So we've got our addictions, we've got our habitual sins, our sinful natures, our preferences. We have all that. Christ calls us to be unbound so that we may go, so that we may walk in life with him. So that's how we do it. That's how we walk in life with Christ, is we are unbound. We drop it. You don't ever see Lazarus pick the clothes back up. He doesn't fold them neatly. He is unbound and he goes and he walks. And that's what we're called to do. We're called to get rid of our sin nature as best we can. We're called to drop our addictions, called to drop our comforts and not pick them back up. Guys, I love you, and I hope that this lesson has opened your eyes at something. I pray that you are able to do that you're able to drop your grave clothes so that we don't smell and look like dead men, but we are changed and we are new inside and out so that the world can see God's glory on display. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.